As a moving business owner, your day starts with a plan. But what happens when your movers don't show and that plan falls apart? Last minute no-shows. You're left to bootstrap, jumping in as an extra body. Yet sometimes, even that's not enough. This isn't just a disruption, it's a barrier to your business growth. Introducing Moving Force, your on-demand moving team. With Moving Force, say goodbye to no-shows and hello to peace of mind. With reliable, on-demand staff ensures you're never undermanned, turning your operational nightmares into a thing of the past. Moving Force, where every day is moving day and every move is smooth. Empower your business and keep growing without missing a beat. Join Moving Force today and move forward with confidence.
Catching up on stuff.
All right, y'all. We are live. Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. Uh,
Howdy,
yeah,
howdy.
we got Yuri Margolin in the building joining us from Moving Sales Professionals. It's been a while since we've been on the show together here.
Been a
Um,
little bit, yeah.
but I know you've been a very busy man over there. Um,
Gotta be.
how's the busy season go for you?
I really can't complain. I feel like I still, to a degree, things have slowed down a little bit, but I still feel like September has been busy. Like I can't. I mean, honestly, I can't complain about September. It's been fairly good.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Like I said, I briefly heard the seminar yesterday with you and Mario,
Yep.
and Mario's been on his thing lately a lot as well. And you know, I admire where you came from, and your background in sales and your B2B, how you've been doing in your lane, basically. A lot of people
Thank
start in
you.
their own specific lane and then they kind of branch out, to try to diversify. But, again, you've stuck the course. And hey, sales is sales, sales work.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's just something that I found myself to be very good at. Like I said multiple times, I've been in position where if you've touched base with me before I opened up this company, and definitely when I was in my early going, doing sales and doing fundraising and that type of thing, I would have definitely told you that I'm very good at it, but I can't stand it, right? These days, ever since I moved up, moving sales professionals, I've definitely accepted it as the course, and it's definitely the way that it's been working for me. I love what I'm doing. I love my job. So, because of that, it doesn't feel like a job at this point. So, it's fun. I mean, I enjoy the chase. I think in order for you to be a good salesperson, it can't be just about the money. It's also going to be about, first of all, it's got to start with the chase. If you like the chase, if you like the challenge, if you like being able to handle objections, if you like booking a company, a job away from another company and things like that, if you enjoy the whole process, then money will come.
hmm Yeah, and I've always been a advocate for sales, even when I ran my moving company. And I even got a little moving company going right now for those that don't may or may not know. But at the end of the day, for me, it's all about I love the customer interaction.
Yep.
Now, also I do love the physical side of it too. So, I don't mind going out in the field periodically and making sure that, hey, the job gets done correctly or to my standards. Because
Right.
again, everybody has their standards, but they should be having the company standards in mind.
Yeah, I think that that's extremely important. I think one of the big issues that people have is realizing that there's a difference between being a um, guy on the truck and being the owner of a company. And there's got to be a separation at some point that's going to happen. So if you're taking the next step, if you're a foreman today and you're taking the next step, open up your own business, which you got to understand, and what people that worked with you prior got to understand is that they're no longer working with you, they're working for you. And that's
hmm
a very important separation because this is what you got to understand. Guys that don't make that separation, they're going to have a very hard time when push comes to shove and you have to turn the boss on. And
Hmm.
sooner or later, you will have to turn the boss on because it's going to be a difficult client that your guys want to send packing or they don't want to do their job for whatever reason. And meanwhile, you know that you can't do that because that's going to affect your reviews and hence future business, right? So you need to be able to put that foot down and say, hey, guys, we need to finish this job. I know you don't like it, no, whatever. I'll take you out for a burger afterwards, but we got to finish this.
Yeah.
And we got to do the
Yeah.
best, and we got to smile and do it with whatever, so that this asshole, pardon my French, leaves us a good review afterwards. Because that's the reality. When you're starting out, you really got to work on things because, like, it's kind of the same thing with me and moving companies. Obviously, I've seen all types of moving company owners since 2018 till today. So 7 years and running. We of actually physically running movie sales professionals. Obviously, I was doing sales that was leading towards that way before that. I started thinking about something like this going back to 2011 that I wanted to do something on my own, and which is where the idea was really kind of brewing in the first place. But ultimately, you gotta understand that they're like for me as a call center owner, there are going to be guys that are not, and owners that are not my cup of tea. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? But my thing is this. Um, I don't think there's a single owner that's worked with me that out there that can truly say that I did not try to do my darnest to make things work.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there that can say that, and I take pride in that because I certainly try to do my best to make things work. But
We used to struggle with customers' item size and weights and cost for inaccurate estimates. And we also ultimately had to cancel some jobs. It was when we found Live Switch Contact. Their video tool for quoting changed everything. We saved $5,000 in the first month alone. And our only regret is we didn't try them sooner.
there are things that in today's moving industry, they won't work if you're not doing certain things. Like, for example, if you're not getting quality leads, if you're not spending money on exclusive leads, on advertising, on social media, it's going to be very hard to book jobs for you.
Hmm.
I said this yesterday at Mario's seminar, and I repeat it again. Um, Lead provider leads are crap today. There has not been a new entrant into that market that was able to provide quality leads in probably 5 to 10 years. There was a company for a very short amount of time. It was called Moo Moves Me that I actually had on my podcast. And they looked very promising. But at this point, I haven't seen their advertising on Facebook or anywhere in probably at least 6 months, if not longer. And that pretty much tells me that they must be out, or maybe they're regrouping or something
Now,
because
what was that company name again?
it's called Moo Moves Me.
Yeah, no, you're right. Definitely. I haven't heard of them.
Yep. They were on for a very short time. I had them on my podcast. We chatted about things. I was very excited about seeing a new lead provider, and they didn't last. And the
Hmm.
problem is that today it's the same lead providers that those others of us that have been in the industry for 20 plus years that we've been seeing for the 20 plus years.
Hmm. And they got
You still
expensive.
got your moving.com, you still got your movers, you still got your Billy, you still got your Equate. They're the same guys, right? So, and now you got other quote runner, it's owned by Equate. Expert movers, it's owned by Equate. It's the same, it's the same guys. So the problem with that is that the quality of leads have gone even more so through the floor because, of course, they want to make as much money as possible. So if before, like there used to be, and I don't know if you guys go way back, so you may remember this lady, and I remember her fondly. So there was a lady that used to work for Equate Media. Her name was Karen.
Yeah.
She knew everything. This lady was in the industry. You could talk to her and you say, Karen, what can I do so that I can see better quality leads? And she'd tell you, well, instead of spending $5 a lead or $6 a lead, you need to put extra 50 cents in or a dollar
Hmm.
in, and you're going to be able to see better leads than some of the other companies that are spending less money than you, right? She would tell you things about how you can filter out leads and things like that. She knew things that none of these other people today that are with lead providers know. And she
Mhm.
did this, and unfortunately, I must be like 3 years now, or pretty close, maybe a little bit more even, that she passed away. She had cancer, as it
Mhm.
turned out, and I have not seen anybody that comes even close. And she was so good. It's like, I'm God bless her. God bless
Yeah,
her.
no,
I
everybody
hope
else has
she's
been.
I hope she's in a much better place than the rest of us because she really was a true professional. She was a pleasure to work with, and she really did help. And back then, of course, Equate Media was different in the sense that you were only competing with maybe one or two other companies. So your
Mhm.
chances of booking were much higher, and we were booking a lot. Of course, this was also the age when Home Advisor existed separate from Angie's Leads, and those leads were amazing. Those leads we were probably booking them close to 20-25% summertime and probably about 15-16 wintertime, which is astronomical numbers in today's leads. So it's like those numbers you can't hit today. If you hit 5%, you're doing okay. So it's like it's that bad, and then the junk is like 40%. It's insane. So with
Yeah,
all these
no, and
companies being there, you cannot possibly seriously think that you can rely on the lead providers to be a chunk of your business because this is what you're dealing with.
no,
And
I get
Frank,
that 100%. And
yeah,
I would say it was funny because we had a conversation about that a couple episodes back where people were, and I put out a post as well about it, but people were using some of the companies I was talking to, like everybody's kind of getting away from some of these lead providers. I actually had a conversation with one of these lead providers, not going to mention name, and they were like, we want you to put $500 down, to get started. And then once you burn through it, obviously you can probably recharge it with whatever you want. But at the same token, we're going to charge you a higher volume during specific times of the day
mhm.
for the lead, and then, lower volume at a different time of the day. And I'm like, whoa, so how do you determine the higher volume and the lower volume? Oh, well, we determine it based on most businesses are open from 9 to 5, so that's going to probably be the highest time that we're going to charge you for it. And then after 5, when things wind down, you'll probably see the lowest charge for it. And I'm like, what? That absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. Like,
To them it makes perfect sense. What are you talking about?
exactly.
It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't, whatever. But like the point is that the quality is simply not there. And I have some clients that have been in business for 20, 30 years, and they're still reliant on that because that was their bread and butter. And they're trying to do long distances and all this other stuff. And it's like, guys, you got to understand what is happening with lead providers. So on top of the stuff that we're talking about, we're also dealing with the fact that um, you got to spend money to make money, right? At the end of the day, you got to spend money on advertising. You got to spend money on social media because that's what's going to really get you going. And lead provider leads, you're competing with, if you're doing long distance, you're competing with brokers. So in case you guys don't know this already, and I run into this every week because I get at least one phone call from somebody that's been working with brokers for the past however many years, and now they want to switch and they want to do the thing on their own, and they're coming to me. And I do research and I look at them and I'm like, wow, you do not exist in the virtual world because this is what you got to understand. Once again, brokers are spending. A couple of years ago, I sat down with one of the brokers at one of the Masara events. We actually sat down. We talked about our business model. They talked about theirs. We talked about how much money they spend on advertising. Guys, $100,000 plus per week.
Mm.
No right mover in their mind, no matter how big they are, Mayflower, Allied, Big Boys, Gentle Giant, these guys are not spending that kind of money on advertising. I can tell you that. So when they're spending that kind of money on advertising, of course they're going to have more leads, right? We can't compete with that, right? Most companies can't compete with that. Though those are astronomical numbers. $400,000 to spend on advertising in a month. That's insane amount of money.
Yeah,
Most
it is.
companies are spending under 20K in a month. So 20K, 400K. Let's think about that for a second, right? So if you're a company that's coming to me and all you're used to doing is working with brokers, you are making a huge mistake by not building up your own social media while you're working with brokers. I understand that that's what you want to start with. You're used to doing long distance. You're used to being a carrier. You're used to doing this type of stuff. That's all good and great. But what you got to be doing alongside of working with brokers is anytime somebody's happening with your company, not a broker, make sure they review for you and not the broker. So you can start building your own Google page, building your own Better Business Bureau in the background. So whenever you're finally ready, say goodbye to brokers and you're ready to work with me, or you're just ready to work to go on your own, you are ready and you have a product to sell. Because when you're coming to me and I look up your company and you don't have a Google page, you don't have a Better Business Bureau, you don't have any reviews online, what am I supposed to sell exactly?
Are you in search of a side gig? Get ready to land the ultimate side hustle. Don't let this opportunity slip away. Join Moving Force as a mobile mover. Enjoy the freedom to set your own hours, earn excellent income, and be your own boss. Apply now. Download the app for free, available on the App Store. It's time to make a move, both figuratively and literally.
Local moves. What is your regular consumer thinking? Local moves? Okay, I'm following the truck in my car. If something goes wrong, I'm calling the cops, right? That's your rationale. Long distance, they're putting their entire life in your truck. And if they're putting their entire life in your truck, they got to be able to trust you. If they can't find anything about you, they're not going to book with you. It doesn't matter how cheap you are. It's at that point, it's not about the price. It's their entire life that they're risking by trusting potentially a mover that they can't find anything about. Other than just, okay, so they're licensed, okay. But there's nothing else.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. So obviously, like I said, in recent posts that I posted on Facebook, yeah, don't be limited to one or two marketing sources.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a bigger company, you've gotten the SEO, you've gotten the traction, you've got the reviews, hopefully at this point. Um, so your systems for the most part should be dialed in. I've seen companies only focus on SEO and postcards, but their main business has been referrals, but they've been around for a very long time. So, but don't just go off of word of mouth because you want to be like, oh well, our work speaks for itself. And especially if you're only like 3 or 4 years in. You
I
need.
think you need to go backwards almost, and you need to, yeah, I mean, Yellow Pages doesn't exist anymore. That's not really a source anymore, right? But you need to go backwards in the sense that certain things, old school, still work. It still works to go and talk to realtors in person. It still works to talk to communities, apartment, like high-end condo communities in person. It still works to offer them some sort of an incentive to send you clients. That stuff still works. You got to do the legwork, especially now. Things are slowing down for majority of companies, right? Do
Mhm.
the legwork. Now is the time for you to do legwork. Don't waste your time. Don't say, oh, we're gonna just wait for things to pick up. Do it now. You got to. This is the time. You're not gonna have time to do this in the summer. Now is the time when you have time to do this.
Yeah,
Summer
pick
is
up
when you make
and
majority
print
of your
out some
money.
flyers
Yeah.
and actually beat the pavement. Go out
Yep.
there, go to these developments, look at apartmentfinders.com. There sometimes they actually have those books where it shows you exactly where these apartments are, and you could just take a drive to like maybe 5, 10 in a day, depending on your availability. Drop off some flyers. Maybe have the even the pull off tabs at the bottom with your phone number and your brand on it and let people do it that way, so you don't have to bring so many flyers and so many business cards and stuff like that. You just got to be efficient with it. But know your
Yeah.
audience because
Yeah.
not every customer is your customer.
Nope.
So if you're targeting laundromats, yeah, you're probably going to have a lower end move, but if you're targeting maybe high end apartment complexes, you're probably going to have a higher end move. So it just depends on what your niche is. Now, don't just aim for all high end people, but it's just kind of being versatile with it.
Right. And once again, I am a fan of postcards. I think it's a great idea. I think you can be creative with stuff like that. And nowadays, you actually have potentially two places that do it. So you got Greg with USA Home Listings, of course, it's been around for a while, but you also got Lazar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. He actually put something out that's, I think it's called moverlead.com.
I thought
But
moving
anyway,
is it mover lead or moving lead? Because moving lead been
no,
around for a very long time.
Mover Lead.
Interesting.
So
Um,
if you look actually a few episodes ago on my podcast, so this would have been like I think it's maybe 2 weeks ago. If you go on my podcast there and look at that episode, I did one with Lazar, and he actually shows you a picture of his interface. So he actually shares his interface. You can actually look at it. He does have I think he has like a 14-day free trial or something that you can check out too.
mhm.
I like the way his stuff looks. Now, like to be frank, I have not seen if USA Home Listing has a similar interface or not. I haven't, so I can't say anything that way or another. But Lazar actually showed me his stuff, and his stuff looks interesting to me. So,
Nah,
but
and that's awesome, honestly, because movinglead.com, I think, is also a postcard service, I believe.
okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
They've been around for ages. And then that's kind of like when I found that USA Home Listings was a second choice
Hmm.
for the same type of service. But actually, like I feel like USA Home Listings has made a presence and a name for themselves that,
Absolutely.
everybody kind of gravitates to them versus moving leads.
Yeah.
And now you mentioned mover leads.
Yeah.
Now there was Move Soon,
Oh,
and he's a great
not
guy.
familiar. Not familiar.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, Move Soon came out. Well, they've been out slightly after USA Home Listings or whatever the case is, and then kind of like we
Hmm.
found out about your guy, Mover Leads,
Yeah.
and Move Soon was really good. I think their main presence is probably on LinkedIn, but
Okay.
they focus on postcards. They focus on connecting with the realtors and
Hmm.
all these connections, so that basically you can kind of get quality referrals from the realtors as well as
Hmm.
doing your postcard business. So it's kind of like everybody's kind of starting going down that direction of how can we get access to these real estate agents.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought he was I thought that's why I was trying to
No.
connect it with moving
No,
leads,
no,
because
no,
I'm like,
no.
they've been around for a while.
Lazar has been around for a while. I actually met him at the. I think he's one of the guys I met at the first event that I went to for Massaro. So
Hmm.
this is going back to 2018. So he's been around that long. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, so like I said, a lot of guys know. So especially if you've been in the industry, especially if you're going back to Massaro years, then you definitely know Lazar.
Yeah, no, I definitely got to check it out for sure. And it's again, guys, this is where you take in this information where you're like, hey, oh snap, I talked about movinglead.com, I talked about USA, I talked about Movers Lead and Move Soon. These are opportunities for you guys to explore more marketing outlets. When I was working had the opportunity of working with Yuri, we had about 450, 430 leads coming in a month.
Hmm.
So that gave his team that variety, that opportunity to make something shake. Now he talks about, having enough leads because hey, no salesperson should be sitting on their hands.
Correct.
If you got salespeople sitting in your office, chatting it up most of the day and the phones aren't ringing, you're wasting money.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Max Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. The first one, the office should call or your dispatcher should call the customer 2 days prior to arrival. The reason for this is just in case the customer has a closing on the house, maybe they weren't able to secure, a babysitter for the child or a pet sitter. You definitely want to call 2 days in advance. This helps the customer be prepared, and you make sure that you as well know that you're going to a customer that's also prepared. Two, the crew should also call the customer prior to arrival to the home. After the guys have already geared up, you got all your equipment in your truck, you got your address punched into your GPS, go in, either the driver or the helper, give the customer a call or a quick text, let them know that you're en route to your location, and provide them with the ETA. This also sets the expectation for the customer to be back home just in case they want to drop their kids off to school. For the third one, Look to keep the customer happy, break the ice in the beginning. So pretty much this means when you walk up to the house, knock on the door with your best mannerism that your mother taught you or father, you knock on the door, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm the foreman. This is my helper. And you introduce the team that you have with you.
I will take it even farther. If during that same time you are keeping them busy, but you're keeping them busy with junk, it does even worse because what that's going to do, it's going to burn out your salespeople, and they're going to get tired, and they're not going to see results because it's like, look, if you're making, what is it for a person, for any sales rep, especially if they're commissioned, and in my mind, they should all be commissioned at this point because
Hmm.
then they're going to work harder. You put a dollar sign and an hourly rate. You're gonna end up wasting a lot of money because you're gonna get a lot of people that are gonna be happy with the status quo, making that $13 an hour or whatever you're paying them. You're
Hmm.
gonna be happy with that, and and even though you're not getting your money's worth, it's gonna be very hard for you to get them to continue hitting those follow-up leads, especially when all they're getting are answering machines. I mean, I
Set the
tell people you're gonna get those days. You're gonna get days where it's gonna be all answering machines.
yeah.
But once again, so quality, 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 quality. It's always gonna be quality over quantity.
So I would say set the benchmark high. Like obviously set the tone high when they first come in.
Yeah.
Now, there's two things I'm going to say about this. Now, one, obviously, yes, the industry, and Yuri's probably going to debate this, but the industry is getting very, very big. And I know you just had this interview on your last podcast
Hmm.
with AI co-pilots.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, it's never going to take away from the human touch,
Hmm.
but the voices are sounding really good, to put it out
Well,
there.
I'll say the same thing that I said yesterday. And I actually, if you guys look once again on my podcast, I think this was last episode when I had the AI girl with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So I have nothing against AI. I think that there's time and place to use AI. I think in today's world, if AI helps to make sure is in place to help make sure that you don't miss any phone calls, assuming, and I have to say this, and I'll stress this, assuming that your Ring Central or whatever the phone system you're using is set correctly and all the calls are going directly to your sales reps, assuming it's all in place, because I've had places that had multiple phone numbers and for some reason there were calls that were coming to one number and it wasn't the number for the sales reps. So the sales reps were missing the calls, but they weren't missing the calls because they weren't there to pick up the call. They weren't missing the calls because they were never routed to them properly. So you got to make sure your stuff is routed properly before you start saying that your guys are not picking up the calls in time. So that's one thing you got to check and make sure and confirm that it works correctly. So assuming it works correctly, if you have an AI in place that's going to be there to pick up on a very busy day, because the other thing too is that, like, for example, last night while I was waiting for the episode to download for the stuff that we did with the webinar, while I was waiting for that thing to load, uh, I made a call to one of my leads and I booked my $12,000 job, right? So what would you rather? Would you spend time with that $12,000 job on the phone, or are you picking up a call potentially that may be a junk call or maybe somebody that's trying to move one piece of furniture that they want to pay $100 for? Are you going to take that? Is the sale? I'm not saying that every salesperson is like that. Like for me, my thing that I've always said to my reps and I also did myself is that I said, put them on hold for 2 seconds, pick up the call, talk to the guy, get their name, get their phone number, tell them that you're going to call them in about 10, 15 minutes. That way, at least you made contact and they'll give you a little bit of time to call them back before they call the next company.
Well, and
Usually,
that's the thing. You
usually
need
that would
to.
be the case. But once again, that's me, and that's
Mhm.
what I teach my people. But when you're actually on the phone and it's a 17,000 pound job, are you gonna are you gonna grab that call or are you gonna stay a person, especially if it's somebody that's demanding and it's somebody that sounds like they really don't have that much time? You're gonna stay on the phone with them. You're not gonna switch over to that next call.
Yeah.
And
No,
and
and
you
like I
as the
said, you
owner, you
guys.
want the big job too. So
Well, you definitely want to make sure that, like I said, how you use that AI Copilot is going to be crucial, like Gary said. Now, whether You use it for inbound calls if you are getting too many calls, or if you're a smaller company and it just makes sense because obviously you're bouncing around doing too many things, wearing too many hats.
Sure.
Um, you can it's really good. It can do intake forms. It can I think speaking with Daria, I believe her name was
Yes,
way last
Daria.
episode,
Yep.
she talks about how it can actually book moves for you as well. So, again, it's not necessarily the human touch, but
The way that I would use it, because in my opinion, is that I use it as being there, that backup in case your sales rep doesn't pick up the call fast enough. I use it to a standpoint of or getting that initial inventory maybe, and then putting that inventory into your CRM. I use it at that point. But once you switch to the proverbial sales, at that point, a real person should take over.
yeah, no, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense. So, all right, y'all. So we are at the top of the time. Yuri, is obviously it's always been a pleasure you joining me.
Thank you.
Uh,
Always fun.
and y'all keep crushing it out there. If you have any questions regarding sales, regarding these AI co-pilots, regarding leads, just reach out. And basically, like I said, diversify, diversify, diversify. We are going into the fourth quarter of the year very soon. So you guys want to make sure that you guys are going to be ready for the next, next year, essentially.
Okay.
Um, uh, so Yuri, anything before we head out?
I was just gonna say, look, both Dwight and I, we're in educational space as much as we are in other space. Obviously, Dwight does his mover training, I do my call center, right? But we are here to educate and we're here to provide additional information for you. So whether you're looking at Dwight's episodes or whether you're looking at my episodes, there's a lot of information there that could be useful to you. And it's free of charge.
You already heard it. All right, y'all. So y'all keep turning in. Moving Force is your on-demand team for every move. So if you guys need last-minute labor, whatever city you are, local market, reach out to me. We'll get you guys going. We are actually in Indianapolis at the current time. So if you guys are out there, we could definitely look to expand our network in that market. So we'll talk to y'all soon. Take care.
Thank you.